Aloha and welcome to Java. Thank you kindly for joining me. It is Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. July 26, 2024. There is a lot I would like to cover with you today. In fact, I'm not going to be able to cover everything I would like to. And also, I would like to give a disclaimer that some of the things that I go over today might upset you. So, with that, let's start with the markets. We've got our risk levels coming back up. We're in the fear territory of markets. What happened yesterday after the drop, again, still weak, but they did have a bit of a bounce, had a bounce and then fell again. So, had a bit of recovery. This correction did build a little bit of strength for now. So, silver got hit pretty hard. Personally, not financial advice. I like anything below $30 in silver per ounce for the long term. Now, if you're purchasing physical, which is what you should be doing, you also have to balance this out with whatever premiums they're charging. So with that, let's look at the 10-year yield and relative strength of the dollar. Both dropped a bit yesterday. So that pulled back the risk levels, if you will, and they are climbing a little bit today. We had cryptocurrencies recovered yesterday. Bitcoin is again above 67,000. We see resistance at 68 and then at 72. If it breaks at 72 level, that's going to be quite bullish for it. So we'll keep an eye on that, and I'll talk a little bit more about cryptocurrencies a little bit later. So right now, we've got stocks are just beginning to show a bit of recovery this morning. Looks like into the futures going green. So this, in my mind, and the way that it looks, was a bit of a correction in the market. There was not panic. There was no other signs yet. We haven't watched a serious trend change. So with that, we're watching also crude oil still dropping a bit, but we're still kind of watching toward that 74 level, maybe. May not get there, may start showing some strength. We've got gold already showing some strength now, and oil will probably follow short after. So we are expecting PCE day today. We've got some strength on this recovery. So at the levels, watch the volume of buying and the price action if you're traders. So with the calendar, today we are getting most of these prior to the market open: PCE, core PCE, and personal income. So now this is what the Federal Reserve uses. It's one of their preferred inflation gauges, if you will. Now we're watching PCE is expected to go up. No surprise. So with this, we're watching other stories float in that I want to go over. U.S. growth acceleration masking signs of slowdown underneath. Why is this? It is because, in short, we are in a war economy. What does that mean? The GDP numbers that came out yesterday they're bolstered by all of the war spending, all of the stimulus that is being given through support to both Israel and then also Ukraine, of course. And there's even more. I've got more to say about that. Anyway, right now, we've got US defense stocks soaring over 60% since massive politician insider trading. So they caught a politician trading, and we've got, as I was saying, some of these war stocks. This in particular was Raytheon. So we've also got the White House Office Management of Budget saying that the president will veto the House of Representatives spending bill for the Treasury Department because they are proposing cuts to the IRS and also community development funds. So they're saying these are unacceptable. They won't accept these cuts, but they're going to extend spending. Now, with this, we also had on audit, the Pentagon is missing another $2 billion. Accounting error is what they're calling it, $2 billion in Ukraine aid. So the total for this, $8.2 billion with a B, not million, billion, $8.2 billion. This is after the previous accounting error that they reported just last year, 2023. Okay, with this, we've got the Army announcing an upcoming brigade overseas deployments, 3 brigade-sized deployments following the 7-unit deployments that have already gone in recent months. Now, United States not at war, at least on the surface. We are deploying. I've spoken about this. We've got people over there. They are supposed to be in air quote supervisory capacity, advisory only. However, these are pretty large numbers of troops that they're being deployed. So I want you to pay attention to this because they won't tell you until afterwards. So along with this, we've got the European Union proposing an asset register database to track citizens' assets. Now, I know this is the EU, but we've got similar things going on in the United States. So you've got these regulators with the IRS. They're looking at everything you've got, $600 or less, but they are allowed to lose $2 billion or misaccount for them. How do you feel about that? We've also got regulators issuing a joint warning on bank and fintech risks now because they have decided that they do not need to keep any reserves for the banking industry. So while you put your money in a bank, they are not required to take any of it. They are allowed to take that and spend it as they would like for what they call investments for that institution. Now, if they end up getting in trouble with those investments and they cannot pay you back, they can do what they call a bail-in. This is completely legal since the Patriot Act. If you don't believe me, please look it up because I want you to understand why we always say, get your money out of the bank except for the bare minimum you need to pay your bills. Looking at our stock maps and crypto maps right now, yesterday as it ended, heavy hits on the stock market, a little bit mixed in some others. Tesla did okay. I spoke about Tesla yesterday, still got some value. I'm going to speak about Amazon today, just a little bit, and we've got the cryptocurrencies recovering. With this, I'm going to speak a bit more about cryptocurrencies, but we've got the rise and fall of what they're calling celeb tokens. Now, these are meme tokens that they've made over, particular people. There's one over the current president, one over the past president. Over 99% of the value of these has been wiped out. I do not like these. That's my personal opinion. You hear stories all the time about people becoming millionaires of them, and I think that's a load. So anyway, I'd like to get into the economy and inflation, what's going on right now. So a $1 million starter home is now the norm in more than 200 US cities. This is inflation at work. All of this war spending is coming home to roost. We're seeing it in our cities' home prices. Now, they're going to counter this with raises in wages. So pretty soon, everybody's going to be a millionaire, but that's because $1 million does not have the same value that $1 million had even 4 years ago. So if you are keeping your money in dollars, your savings in dollars, you're losing out big time. So we've got this more going into this 4 quote unquote hidden unretirement costs that can make going back to work pretty expensive. Now, I put this in here because more people have to go back to work than have in the past 10 years. Now, because of inflation, making living off of one wage, much less two, is completely unsustainable. And now we've got more than a third of Americans having second jobs. So if you're in the workforce, you have to get a second job. If you were retired, forget about it. You've got to go back to work if you want to afford to continue to live. We've got a swap that has happened in the labor market. Now, labor was very tight. During COVID, a lot of free money flew into private bank accounts, and no one felt the need to work because they were all on basically a temporary universal basic income. Now, it's switching. Now, we just heard about the Aer Lingus pilots. They basically took what they called industrial action. They went on strike. So, as they didn't show up for work, now they're facing consequences because they have had their pay docked from doing this. So, in the past, the companies cowed to them as we watched a lot of this, and it doesn't matter that it's the United States or whether it's over in the EU, it's very similar stories. They're working in lockstep, the central banks. And this is all based back to inflation and their whole plan. And I know this sounds conspiracy theory, but if you stay with me, I'll show you this and you can also look this up for yourself. However, we've got now labor is much less um, desirable, if you will, and unemployment is beginning to rise. So, with this, we've got container shipping rates snapping weeks of gains, meaning container shipping is an indicator we use for the real economy. That's pulling back. We're watching deflation there, watching deflation in energy demand going down. People cannot afford it anymore. Over 80% do not have even $1,000 for emergency funds. If an emergency cost comes up, if it's $1,000, over 80% in the United States cannot pay it. They're one paycheck away from being out on the streets. Okay, with this, I want to go over a couple of other things if you're looking at investments. Yesterday, I was speaking about Tesla. They're long term and larger in the company. They are not an electric vehicle company alone. So while we are going to see some pullbacks in the prices, I'm a bit bullish on them as a company long term, as well as Amazon. Now, they took a hit, underperformed on their basically on their cost Thursday when compared to competitors. However, I feel like Amazon has a lot of growth in their AWS, Amazon Web Services, and they also have not been speaking a lot about the artificial intelligence component of their company, which is coming. So, with all of that, I think they've got a lot of growth to come. Okay, with this, we've got Brazil, young farmers helping to usurp the United States agricultural supremacy. Well, boil this down. Brazil is in BRICS, controlling a larger amount of the food supply. US is has gone from a net exporter to a net importer of their food. Long term, this is serious trouble. I'll just simplify it that way. Okay, if you're interested in purchasing crypto, I've had a few people ask me about this. I'm going to do a more detailed video, but the price is moving rapidly. And if you're feeling like you should, I think there's going to be more price fluctuation. I don't want you to be afraid of missing out. However, I do think it's wise, and I am doing it. You can do it you like to purchase cryptocurrency. Two favorite exchanges if you're in the United States. You are limited, it's much more heavily regulated. So, the two easiest ones for now, just to get some, and then we'll talk about how you should actually hold it or what you would like to do. So, both of these are exchanges, Gemini and Kraken. Now, I choose these over Coinbase because they have lower fees. They still have the liquidity and the pool. They both trade different tokens, if you will. Right now, if you're new to it, I recommend Bitcoin only. Don't get caught up in these meme coins or other, I call them projects because it's really what they are, smaller businesses, until you can understand what they are. So I want to give you both sides of this. We've got one story saying, don't miss the bull run that could make Bitcoin great again. I agree with this one. I think it's eventually going over 72,000. However, we've also got Bitcoin traders warning Bitcoin price can still dip to 62,000 or quote unquote even lower, 58,000 if there is an asset sell off, meaning gold stocks and the likes because of the recession. It will also take cryptocurrency with it, is the highly likely scenario. So, both sides of it, buy the dips is what I'm doing. You can do what you would like, not financial advice again. We've got Ethereum selling off, signaling more trouble. Well, That's because he had the ETF. We spoke about selling off the news. Ethereum, I think, is also bullish long term, but I like Bitcoin is actually more as money. Ethereum is more like a stock. So with this going off to another side of this artificial intelligence, please don't feed Chat GPT. I'll talk about that in a moment. An alternative is Claude.ai. So if you'd like to start talking to artificial intelligence, that's one alternative. With either of these two, I'm going to go into how you can get in, buy Bitcoin. They make it very easy. Sign in, make an account. Gemini, I've got a link for them below. It will get you a small amount. I think it's $10 for you, $10 for me. And if you want, and you let me know after you go through the period of holding, and they release it, I'll send that $10 in Bitcoin. Whatever number of Satoshis it purchases, I'll send it back to you. So just an offer for being here, because I appreciate you all. So with that Gemini link in the description, let's go on. I want to cover a couple of more things. So current, we're going to see what's going on here. I am being heavily censored. The video, I hope this one goes out. I have to be very careful what I say here. I got this yesterday. It took a long time to process the video. So with this, we've got the new front runner, wants to be America's first Silicon Valley tops. She has tech support. Let's break this down. LinkedIn billionaire going all in. Now, this is the co-founder Hoffman of LinkedIn. So he wants her to make a big change. What does this mean? She's for sale. So he donated over $7 million to the leading pro, super PAC, told them he's redoubling his efforts to support the campaign. This is according to CNN. Has great hopes that this person will win the race. But the billionaire argued that if they win in November, they should install a new antitrust cop in place of the FTC current chair. Now, why would they say that? That is direct influence. Anyway, it goes on to say that this person, the current FTC chair, is a person who is not helping America, and I would hope that this runner would replace her. Now, Hoffman also sits on the board of Microsoft. Microsoft also with ChatGPT, OpenAI. So there are some large open connections going on behind her. If you don't believe me, please look this up yourself. We've got none other than Bernie Sanders stepped up and said about this. He had his own opinion on CNN, and I actually agree with him on this. He noted this donation, basically, and has said that he actually supports the current FTC chair. So this is the other side of it. And he said that she's the best chair they've had in a very, very long time now. If you know his stance on it, he's much more progressive or whatever. So he says, this concerns me because she is doing, meaning the chair is doing a great job. And I would hope and expect that if this current one that they're endorsing wins, that they keep her on. So that's two sides to that. But with this, we've got this guy, again, backing open research, releasing UBI, Universal Basic Income Spending Study. This is leading towards more of the tokenization that is going on. Also, OpenAI announcing a new search GPT in challenge to Google. So this pairing, OpenAI, Microsoft, and then calls to let go of basically who is heading antitrust. You can put this together from there. Okay, we've also got Canadian jets intercepting Chinese-Russian planes near Alaska. Why am I bringing this up? Watch what's going on. We're heading into the close Friday. I expect a lot of volatility, and they always do things after market close for the weekend. So with this, I wish you all a wonderful day, wonderful weekend, and until I see you again, my friends, stay free.